I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving, I'm moving. What's good, guys? It's your boy Jay. That's me. Let's dive into Impact Wrestling for April the 27th, 2023. This was an okay show. We're moving right along to Under Siege. I'll go over the show first, and then we will talk about the Naomi to Impact Wrestling situation. And I'm very excited about that. So we will talk about that. But first, let's just go ahead and get into the show. So we kicked the show off with Jordynne Grace versus Masha Slamovich. This was a solid match. These two worked beautifully together. In the end, Jordynne Grace was able to win via a sunset flip into a pin for the 1-2-3. So I do like this. I'm guessing Jordynne Grace is sticking around. Masha Slamovich so far has been cold right now. Very cold. She was a lot better in 2022 than she has been this year. But it seems like they're moving towards a program between her and Killer Kelly. And that's going to kick major ass because I'm a fan of both Killer Kelly and Masha Slamovich. And Killer Kelly, oh my God, that girl, ooh-wee. Damn, that girl just, shit. That girl just does something to me. Damn. Moving on. So, Steve Maclin, he comes out next. He talked about his strategic retreat from PCO last week. Then PCO, he comes out, but he is taken out by Champagne Singh and Shira. They attack PCO from behind. I thought that Maclin was going to get involved and help them, but he doesn't. He retreats and dips out. So basically, PCO takes out both Champagne Singh and Shira. Then Santino, he comes out. And Champagne Singh tries to pay off Santino. Santino, he takes the money, which is smart. But he also banned Shira from ringside. So that was pretty cool. Really, really funny shit right there. PCO versus Champagne Singh. PCO wins via the PCO salt. It is what it is. It's not really that important. There was one spot in the match where Singh had put money in PCO's mouth and PCO spit it out, which was smart. I'm interested in seeing how they're going to have PCO lose to Steve Maclin come Under Siege. I'm very intrigued by that because this whole gimmick is PCO's not human. I don't know. Maybe Eddie Edwards will get involved. I don't know. I hope not, but that seems like where they are going to go. So next we get a little Impact Plus throwback involving Nick Aldis, a.k.a. Magnus, at that time, getting a win over Christopher Daniels. So that's pretty cool. So moving on, the design. Oh my God. They're backstage. So Diener, he cut a promo about Sami Callihan turning on them. He talked about how he was created by the original designer, Eric Young, to eliminate weakness. So Diener confessed that he ripped Eric Young's heart out and fed it to the wolves. And that was it. Again, this doesn't make any sense. I don't know why Impact did that angle. And I don't know why he was allowed to say this. Again, we get this is a TV show and everything else, but you cannot kill wrestlers off. You cannot do that shit. You cannot. That does not make any sense to me. No. And I'm so over this design bullshit. I'm over that. Ugh. Break up that faction. Like I've said before, I would have Alan Angels go back into the X division and basically turn face, because he's not over as a heel. And then I would just have Big Con being managed by Diener. That's what I would do. I mean, it's just a useless faction. Next, the Coven. They were backstage. Taylor Wilde and Kylan King. They were casting some spells on Deonna Purrazzo to rip her limb from limb. So Kylan King turned over the 8 of Swords tarot card. So this is okay, I guess. Again, we have too many supernatural characters on the show. Speaking of which, where has the Hex been? We haven't seen them in like maybe a month. Next, Johnny Swinger, he defeaed El Generico, but it turned out to be Ziggy Dice doing all this. So basically, the luchador that Johnny Swinger and Ziggy Dice paid to bring in to face Johnny Swinger was actually Ziggy Dice under a mask, which we knew it all along anyway. So, kind of makes sense. So, Johnny Swinger and Ziggy Dice, or Generico, they went backstage. They were under the curtain. The cameraman saw Generico. He took off the mask. It was Ziggy Dice. So Santino, he walks up. He sees this and said that the match didn't count, since it was supposed to be someone not contracted. Ziggy Dice then asked for a contract anyway. Johnny Swinger walked off, and he was upset at Ziggy Dice, saying he knew it wasn't going to work. And then Swinger is back to getting 0 wins. Really good comedic gold here. I like it. Kenny King, he's backstage. And Channing Decker, who he defeated on BTI before the Impact, he thanked him for the match. King said he was thankful that Decker let Kenny King beat him in his hometown. Decker walked away offended, which is always nice. So Kenny King sat down next to Sheldon Jean and offered to help mentor him so he could help him climb the ladder in Impact and doing what needs to be done. So I do like this pairing. Sheldon Jean looks to be kind of solid. He looks like he's like 6'3", 6'4", maybe 220, 230. This could work. I'm hoping that we get more into this, because I could see these guys being a formidable tag team. I really could. You know, like I said, Kenny King's second run with Impact this time has not been that good, outside of the whole Honor No More stuff last year. But Kenny King, in my opinion, deserves like a lot better. But this is fine right here. Hopefully they end up making him into a tag team. Next, the Ace and Bey Connection versus the Design, Con, and Angels. This was a non-title match. So in the end, ABC, they get the win via the finesse into the fold on Alan Angels with a 1-2-3. Sami Callihan got involved as well. So we're still going to continue this Design and Callihan feud. Doesn't make any sense. Scrap it. Nobody wants to see Diener versus Sami Callihan. Nobody wants to see Sami Callihan versus Big Con, or Sami Callihan versus Angels. Nobody wants to see that shit. Enough. enough. This is stupid. Get rid of the faction. It doesn't make any sense. No one cares. They aren't over. No one is going to take Deonna as a serious murder villain. It's just not going to happen. Deonna has been a jobber for years. Ugh. Moving on. So, Santino Marella, he is attacked earlier on in the show. I forgot to mention. Santino said he tried to fight back against who hit him, but he had no idea who it was. So one of the doctors said he was recommending that Santino take some time off. Dango then comes in and appointed himself as the detective of authority and offered to investigate what happened. So I do like this. More comedic stuff here. Moving on. So the Death Dolls, they were backstage discussing how they needed the Knockout Tag Team Championships to use magic powerful enough to see who was blocking them from the Undead Realm. Crazy Steve walked into the room, and he and Rosemary just smiled at each other. So Crazy Steve said she needed to go talk to James Mitchell, and Rosemary was reluctant. So this is okay, I guess, but again, I wish they never would have wrote Taya Valkyrie off in that manner when they just had her go into the casket, and then she was transported into AEW. Just doesn't make any sense. What they should have done is when the Coven won the tag titles, they should have just did a regular beatdown to Taya Valkyrie, just taking her out, just a really good beatdown. And that's what I would have done. Would have made sense. So Jody Threat, she defeated Sparks. I think her name is Zeloa Sparks, whatever her name is. Who knows? Who cares? It doesn't matter. She defeated a jobber via the F416. Okay. Next, we have a Frankie Kazarian sit-down interview, which didn't make any sense. I have no idea why. So G. Miller sat down with Frankie Kazarian to discuss his career and original signing with Impact, saying Scott D'Amore and Jeff Jarrett were why he got a shot in TNA. He talked about his world title match with AJ Styles a month prior to being there. But also he talked about how the business where the old mentality was still active and the older veteran wrestlers holding back younger talent for years. Frankie Kazarian also talked about why he left TNA with Christopher Daniels and went to ROH in 2014 because of the turmoil backstage at TNA at the time. And he decided that he needed out because he was never going to get the chances he wanted there. Then we saw highlights of Dixie Carter, Hulk Hogan, and Jeff Jarrett. They were all shown in a negative light. So this, I guess, makes sense, but it's not really that important. We'll have to see how part 2 and 3 go. Again, who knows? For me, I think that Frankie should just be in that mid-card, and he should be able to transition into a backstage producer or a writer. That's kind of what I would do with Frankie Kazarian. Actually, with more than half of these veterans, that's what I would do, is just make them writers and backstage producers. That's just me. Main event, Taylor Wilde versus Deonna Purrazzo for the Impact Knockouts Championship. This was a really solid TV match here. This was very enjoyable. In the end, Deonna Purrazzo retains via the Venus Lamayo. I love it. And then post-match, Kylan King and Taylor Wilde, they attack Deonna Purrazzo, but Jordynne Grace makes the save, and then both Jordynne Grace and Deonna Purrazzo have a little stare down, and they shake hands, and then we go off the air. Overall, the show was decent for the most part. It was decent. This sets up some stuff for next week, and this sets up stuff for Under Siege. So, Naomi is heading to Impact. The news basically broke Wednesday. And overall, I'm excited for this because it makes the most sense. Now, we heard rumblings that she was at Ring of Honor, doing some stuff there. She was rubbing elbows with Jade Cargill. But ultimately, she decided to go with Impact Wrestling. And to me, I can't knock that. I think that's great. I do. I don't think that it was a letdown for her. I don't. I think this was a wise decision. Tony Khan always wanted Sasha Banks, a.k.a. Mercedes Moné. He never wanted Naomi, a.k.a. Trinity Fatu. Never wanted her. Same thing with Japan. They weren't a package deal. They weren't. And I'm pretty sure that Naomi is probably still good friends with Mercedes still. But it was never going to be equal between the two. It never was. You know, Sasha was going to always be picked and called before Naomi. Right? To me, I think this is a wise decision. It does make the most sense. AEW's women's division is not that good. And even when Mercedes does show up, it's going to matter just for a small bit, but not for the long term. It's just not. Because that women's division just isn't good in AEW. It's just not good. It's not good. I think Naomi made the right decision here. Impact has the best women's division in North America. They do. They don't just talk it. They actually do. Just like tonight. Most of the card was just knockout matches. Most of the matches on the card were just, for the knockouts. They do stuff like this. And you get stuff like this in NXT as well. But, that should happen in NXT because it's their developmental. But Naomi was totally mishandled and misused in her time in WWE. She had been there for 15 years? She's been there since 08, 09? And she's only been SmackDown Women's Champion, I think, twice. And she's had a couple of tag titles here and there, but again, that doesn't mean anything. She's had a couple of moments at WrestleMania and everything else. She's had some good shows in the Royal Rumble, but in general, I think that Naomi going to Impact does make the most sense. This allows her to reinvent herself. This allows her to change her character up. I get that it's not on national television and everyone doesn't have access to Axstv, but it is what it is. You can watch it online. Because there's a lot of times where I watch Impact online. There are ways to watch it online. The only problem with Impact is that Anthem won't move them off of Access and allow them to shop for an actual network that can allow them to have more eyes on the product. If Naomi would have went to AEW, she would have been in the Jay White situation. She would have gotten used for a little bit, and then she would have been delegated to Rampage and Dark. And thankfully, Tony Khan decided to get rid of Dark Elevation. Hopefully, he gets rid of Dark and Rampage, and just focuses on Dynamite and Collision. So to me, I think that Naomi made a smart decision here. Hopefully, Scott D'Amore locked her down to like a year or two deal. You know, Naomi going to Impact is a smart decision. She's going to get used there. She's going to be champion. She's going to have time to develop a character. I mean, it makes sense. And then people also have to understand and realize, with her, if she would have went back to WWE, they're in the process of merging with Endeavor. So that's not going to look good down the line. You know, people are making money now, but when this merger takes place and it's finalized in October, you're going to see a lot of people get released. And I do think that's when we see a lot of people going to Impact, going to MLW, going to GCW. AEW will pick up a couple names here or there, but for the most part, most of these guys and girls are going to go to Impact, MLW, GCW. That's where they're going to go. Some people will go to New Japan if they want to travel, but I think that Naomi knew this was the best decision for her, because really and truthfully, there was nobody else that was going to take her. And I'm glad she didn't go to Ring of Honor, because Ring of Honor has no TV deal, and they're not going to get one. And nobody's going to pay $10 a month just to watch Naomi. It's not going to happen. All in all, this is a great move by Impact. They are going to use Naomi right and correctly. They're going to build her up. This is a big get for them, and this allows them to also make some changes to stuff. Again, Impact is going to be in a situation in the coming months when these releases happen from WWE. They're going to be the main one to reap the benefits from it. Standing with MLW and GCW. Those three promotions are going to be the ones to reap the benefits from the releases, not Tony Khan. So, what did you guys think of the show? And what did you guys think about the Naomi going to Impact? Please hit the like button, comment down below, and subscribe for more videos. Peace.